Joint Task Force Bicolandia. Bicolandia. Joint Task Force Bicolandia came into being upon the assumption of command of Major General Jesus A. Manangkil Jr. as commander of the 9th Infantry Spear Division. As he takes on his post, Major General Manangkil Jr. saw the existence of various threats and challenges threatening the peace and security of the Bicol region. Among the threats and challenges confronting the region are the Bicol Regional Party Committee of the Communist Party of the Philippines, terrorism, criminality, and natural calamities. Addressing the threats and challenges are the land, air, and naval components of the Armed Forces of the Philippines deployed in the region in support and in collaboration with the local government units and other law enforcement agencies. Major General Manangkil Jr. also saw the need to enhance joint operations of the three AFP components for a more effective campaign against the threats undermining the stability of the region. Among his observations include the lack of full orchestration of intelligence and civil-military operations of the land, air, and naval components, lack of united efforts on terrorism, not integrated disaster response operations, among others. With the proposal of Commander 9th ID, Lieutenant General Danilo G. Pamonag, AFP, Commander, South Luzon Command, approved the creation of a joint task force. On April 1, 2018, the Southern Luzon Command issued Operational Directive Number 03-2018, granting the creation of Joint Task Force Bicolandia, recognizing the need to enhance joint operations and enhance the Philippine Air Force and Philippine Navy support to the ground forces for a more effective campaign against the communist terrorist group. The mission of the Joint Task Force Bicolandia is to conduct intensified internal security operations to dismantle the Bicol Regional Party Committee in order to establish an environment conducive for economic development in the Bicol region. The functions of the JTF are as follows: manages and controls the conduct of IPSO campaign, orchestrates the conduct of territorial defense, unifies counter-terrorism efforts, integrates support roles on humanitarian assistance and disaster response, undertakes law enforcement and support operations, conducts joint trainings and exercises. Joint Task Force Bicolandia is composed primarily of the following: 9th Infantry Spear Division as the land component, Tactical Operations Group 5 of the Tactical Operations Wing Southern Luzon as the air component, elements of Naval Task Force 31 as the naval component. Just like other entities, an official seal was made for Joint Task Force Bicolandia. The seal symbolizes JTF Bicolandia's enduring commitment to serve and protect the Bicol region, to sustain peace and security in partnership with the local government units and agencies, other law enforcement agencies, government and non-government organizations, and the Bicolanos in general. Joint Task Force Bicolandia within the circle of the seal represents the identity of the Joint Task Force in the Bicol region. White collar background symbolizes purity and sincerity in the performance of duty. Shield symbolizes our role as protector of the people and territory within the area of responsibility. Tricolor represents the three AFP components: green, Philippine Army; light blue, Philippine Air Force; and dark blue, Philippine Navy. Four hands signify unity, partnership, and cooperation, as well as the JTF's sincerity and willingness to work hand in hand with all the stakeholders. Dove symbolizes our desire for peace. Map of Region 5 represents the area of responsibility. The activation of a joint task force will indeed achieve unity of command, and enhanced synergy of the land, air, and naval components of the AFP deployed in Bicol region. Significant capabilities of JTF Bicolandia are as follows: conduct of internal peace and security operations, conduct of joint offensive and defensive operations, conduct of joint operations in any local weather and in any visibility condition, conduct of air assault and amphibious operations, conduct of limited disaster response operations, conduct of law enforcement support operation, conduct of security to vital installation and government projects. In adherence to the AFP Chief of Staff guidance, the Joint Task Force Bicolandia joins every Bicolano in facing the challenges in our quest for peace and progress in Bicol region and in the entire Filipino nation as a whole.
Strong resistance. The Special Operations Unit requests instructions for cold air support to neutralize the terrorists inside their bunkers. The Philippine Navy's Special Operations Unit now moves inward, clandestinely advancing by utilizing the basic fire element and the nuclear element. They shall continuously sustain well-aimed fire on suspected targets until they reach their final assault to rapidly clear the beach. The largest fire force are now deployed to completely advance. As soon as the area has been declared clear, the Philippine Army troops, as the larger military force, will now arrive at the shore. Troops land on hostile territory and move directly inshore to conduct route operations. Once they arrive, they initially establish defensive position. The team leader will approach the Philippine Navy Special Operations Unit to directly receive the situation report. The ground commander assesses that they are vulnerable to enemy fire once they decide to assault the terrorist rebels' position. He calls in the Philippine Army's armored fighting vehicles to support their assault towards the enemy-occupied buildings. The armored vehicles are of mobile fortress, swift and impenetrable. They can close in on the enemy position while providing cover to foot soldiers. Ground troops rapidly maneuvers and position themselves behind the armored fighting vehicles. The combined groups may now begin their advance toward the terrorist stronghold. This technique is used to maximize and sustain fires while minimizing casualties in danger areas. The Philippine Air Force will use airborne to provide air cover to the advancing troops. Once they reach their limit of advance, we establish the defensive position and direct all fires towards the enemy occupying the city engineers building. The Philippine Army's armored fighting vehicles maintain its covering fire. What we are witnessing is one of their defensive maneuvers. The forward and backward motion of the armored fighting vehicle is called flanking. This type of maneuver is used to prevent enemy small arms fire or avoid being hit by rifle defense enemy. The team leader assessed that the ground troops are now safe to continue their advance. He directs his top teams to maneuver towards the building where strong enemy resistance is located. Their mission: conduct close-quarter battle to successfully clear a building and destroy all terrorist rebels therein. Troops conducting close-quarter battle are exposed to increased risk as they clear a building room by room rather than using overwhelming fire or lost in civilian lives. To your right, the Philippine National Police supports the ground troops by deploying police cordon along the terrorist-controlled area. Let me now direct your attention towards the sea. Beyond the shoreline, Sentinel, guardians of the sea, the Philippine Navy. They are capable of conducting both territorial defense operations and internal peace and security operations. What we are about to witness is the waterborne operations. This type of operation is conducted to infiltrate and penetrate target from water-covered areas. It requires an exceptional degree of unity and operational coherence by sea, air, and ground forces. Troops deployed for this operation is the Philippine Navy's Special Operations Unit. They are capable of infiltrating enemy position by land, air, or sea. They are equivalent to the U.S. Navy SEAL and are considered as the sharpest edge of the Philippine Navy's trident. each member possesses war-fighting skills in combat swimming, scuba diving, air infiltration, and small boat handling. They are presently granted towards the designated launch point. Once they reach the launch point, they will enter the water and swim or dive towards the enemy position. Their mission: rapidly clear the breach and defend the area until a military force large enough arrives to begin its advance. Coming, quick and deadly, they can drop the enemy where they are least expected. We can now move towards the pre-designated assembly area. The team leader shall lead the troops, taking advantage of cover and concealment to avoid detection towards their objective. As soon as the team gets an eye on the target, the leader shall split his team into a base of fire and maneuver element, silent and daring. They will close in on the enemy until they are on their final position to engage the terrorists. Philippine Navy's Special Operations Unit now moves inward, rapidly advancing by utilizing the base fire element and the maneuver element. We shall continuously sustain well-aimed fire towards suspected targets until they reach the final result to rapidly clear the breach. Along the shoreline, the Bicolandia coast, the largest military force, are now deployed to continue the advance. They are presently dispatching all boats of the assault boats Clear. The Philippine Army troops, as the larger military force, will now arrive at the shore. troops land on hostile territory and move directly inshore to conduct ground operations. Once they arrive, they initially establish defensive position. The team leader will approach the Philippine Navy Special Operations Unit to directly receive the situation report. The ground commander assesses that they are vulnerable to enemy fire once they decide to assault the terrorist rebels' position. Because in the Philippine Army's armored fighting vehicles support their assault towards the enemy occupied buildings. The armored vehicles are of global purpose, swift and impenetrable. They can close in on the enemy position while providing cover to foot soldiers. Rapidly maneuvers and position themselves behind the armored fighting vehicles. The combined groups may now begin their advance toward the terrorist stronghold. This technique is used to maximize fires while minimizing casualties in danger areas. The Philippine Air Force remains airborne to provide air cover to the advancing troops. Once they reach the limit of advance, we establish the defensive position and direct all fires towards the enemy occupying the city in nearest building. The Philippine Army's armored fighting vehicles continue to cover fire. What we are witnessing is one of their defensive maneuvers. The forward and backward motion of the armored fighting vehicles is called tracking. This type of maneuver is used to deflect enemy small-arms fire or avoid breaching the rapid advancing enemy. The team leader assesses that the ground troops are now safe to continue their advance. He directs the staff troops to maneuver towards the building where strong enemy resistance is located. Their mission: the ground close water battle, constantly clear a building and destroy all terrorist rebels early. Troops conducting close water battle are exposed to increased risk as they clear a building room by room rather than using overwhelming firepower to neutralize all hostile inhabitants. Please direct your attention to the monitor in front of you to witness how the ground troops cleared the city engineer's office and neutralized all terrorists. Good. A wounded terrorist rebel surrendered. The Philippine Army's medical evacuation team is underway to provide medical treatment. On board the approaching field ambulance are the Philippine Army's combat medics. They are capable of conducting emergency medical treatment whether during wartime or peacetime. This is administered to the wounded terrorist since he is no longer posing a threat to government forces and other peace-loving citizens. This acts by your soldiers is in strict adherence to the international humanitarian law or the law of armed conflict as signed in the Geneva Convention. Intelligence reports disclosed that terrorist leaders are encamped inside the fire station. The presence of civilians being used as human shield were also reported as they try a last-ditch effort to escape. Additional troops must be rapidly inserted to avoid detection and prevent civilian casualties. Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention on the buildings on your right to witness the heliborne operation.
Nalaro ko siya sa page namin.
May I now request the audience to please direct your attention on the monitor in front of you to witness the final assault of ground troops as they clear the remaining terrorist stronghold. The combined troops may now begin their advance toward the terrorist stronghold. This technique is used to maximize and sustain fires while minimizing casualties in danger areas. The Philippine Air Force remains airborne to provide air cover to the advancing troops. Once they reach their limit of advance, they establish defensive position and direct all fires towards the enemy occupying the city engineers building. The Philippine Army's armored fighting vehicles maintain its covering fire. What you are witnessing is one of their defensive maneuvers. The forward and backward motion of the armored fighting vehicle is called jacking. This type of maneuver is used to deflect enemy small arms fire or avoid being hit by rifle-propelled grenades. The team leader assessed that the ground troops are now safe to continue their advance. He directs the stock teams to maneuver towards the building where strong enemy resistance is located. Their mission: conduct close quarter battle to methodically clear a building and destroy all terrorist rebels therein. Troops conducting close-quarter battle are exposed to increased risk as they clear a building room by room rather than using overwhelming firepower to neutralize all hostile inhabitants. Please direct your attention to the monitor in front of you to witness how the ground troops clear the city engineer's office and neutralize all terrorists.
Support! Coming in. Control, stop one. Go ahead. Sir, situation report lang, sir. 5 enemy terrorists killed. 1 wounded. Request for immediate evac, sir. Yan, coming. Copy that, sir.
A wounded terrorist rebel surrendered. The Philippine Army's medical evacuation team is underway to provide medical treatment. On board the approaching field ambulance are the Philippine Army's combat medics. They are capable of conducting emergency medical treatment whether during wartime or peacetime. This is administered to the wounded terrorist since he is no longer posing a threat to government forces and other peace-loving citizens. These acts by your soldiers is in strict adherence to the international humanitarian law or the law of armed conflict as signed in the Geneva Convention. Intelligence reports disclosed that terrorist leaders are encamped inside the fire station. The presence of civilians being used as human shield were also reported as they try a last-ditch effort to escape. Additional troops must be rapidly inserted to avoid detection and prevent civilian casualties. Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention on the buildings on your right to witness the heliborne operation.
The helicopter will hover while ground forces will drop towards their initial entry point. May I now request the audience to please direct your attention on the monitor in front of you to witness the final assault of ground troops as they clear the remaining terrorist stronghold.
Tulungan namin. Sundan kami.
Sir, salamat po sir. Salamat po.
All terrorist rebels have been neutralized. All civilians caught in the crossfire are alive and secured. Troops cautiously vacate the buildings. Extra security and care are being administered to the civilians caught in the crossfire as they move towards their primary position. Most civilians caught in the crossfire experience shock or trauma. They shall be immediately transported to the nearest medical evacuation point, usually on board armored personnel vehicles. Troops are now in transit towards their primary position. The civilians used as human shield will now be transported on their way to their medical evacuation point. Prompt physical and psychological evaluation will be administered in the nearest military field hospital to mitigate the effects of shock and trauma. Selected troops shall remain in the area for clearing operations, while other troops shall consolidate and reorganize in an undisclosed area for possible follow-up operations. As soon as the area has been declared clear, the ground commander immediately calls in the Philippine National Police for police operation. Once they arrive, he immediately approaches the police officer in command to provide situation briefing. All statements by the ground forces will be collected pending further investigation. Evidences will also be collected in the area for the filing of appropriate criminal charges against the terrorist rebels, including their supporters, in a civilian court. Cadavers of the dead rebels are also identified and processed for forensic investigation. Once identified, the next of kin will be informed of their death so that proper burial may be provided. The Armed Forces of the Philippines always places the rule of law above operational tactics, techniques, and procedures. All soldiers, as citizens of the Republic, will always obey the laws of the land. No civil rights or liberties are curtailed in the conduct of warfare, even in post-military operations. Ladies and gentlemen, the terrorist stronghold have been cleared. The situation has normalized. The area is now secured for any civilian activities. Troops will now consolidate and reorganize for deployment in other areas of immediate concern. Internal peace and security will now be handed over and maintained by the civil authorities. The entire Bicol region is once again free from any terroristic attacks thanks to the brave men and women of the Armed Forces of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give a round of applause for the Joint Task Force Bicolandia.
You have just witnessed the capability demonstration of Joint Task Force Bicolandia. The Philippine Navy, Philippine Air Force, and the Philippine Army are now united to secure the populace and usher in further development in our area of responsibility. Our commitment to our constitutional mandate of protecting the people, securing the sovereignty of the state, and the integrity of the national territory is unwavering. We are ready 24/7 and will respond to any terroristic actions or threats of terrorist attacks, whether in land, air, or sea. Death may be certain, yet we march forward. In the face of our enemies, we stand on guard. Our heart beats for the country we love so dearly. Our thoughts for our countrymen to live freely. Onward we march, our loved ones we will miss. A price we have to pay so they may live in peace. Forward we march, victory we will achieve. We'll make the ultimate sacrifice so that others may live.
Simula na po kita ng program natin, hindi na lang po. Hindi lang po nagiging Sir, photo muna kami, sir. Photo muna kami.
Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the officers, men and women of Joint Task Force Bicolandia. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for the Joint Task Force Bicolandia.